I don't really remember my very young years, but I've seen pictures like we had before my parents were together. Like we had a good life and it was quickly taken away. And like you said, you don't want to be defined by certain moments in your life, but going from having to not having was a big adjustment, especially, I guess for me, I'm the oldest and my brother was younger, so I tried to shelter him from that. But I do remember like my 16th birthday, spending it at Yellow Brick House. So it was very much an impression on me that, like I said, I tried for a very long time not to think about, or like I said, to hide it and not let it define me. And I think that was the driving factor for me on everything, my decisions going forward. I knew I wasn't going to have my children in that same kind of situation. I was going to do whatever I thought was the right path, whatever I thought possible, to be the complete opposite of what I went through, because no one should have to do that. And especially for me, I was a really good athlete. I was great in school, but could never have friends over, couldn't really, do all the extras that everybody else was doing. Not to say that I've resented it for that, because, the situation was, it was, but I missed out on a lot because, we didn't have a place. And then after that, like I said, moving into the upper level of a bungalow and having people live below us. Again, you're in high school, you want to have friends over, you want to go to parties, when you do go out, you have your friends drop you off a block away and walk home so no one sees where you're living. So those type of things like really are impressionable on a teenager and really like sticks with you. I'm now how old? And I think back on those times, and like I said, I was ashamed of who I was then because I was hiding a part of my life. And I know if my friends knew, they wouldn't have bothered them, or they would have wanted to help me a bit more. But at that time, I didn't want anybody to know. But now looking back on it, it has really shaped who I am. Because if I didn't go through those hard times, I don't think I would have been or would be as strong as I am now. Wouldn't have worked as hard as I do now, because I know what it's like. So all the decisions I make, especially for my children, is so that they will never have to go through that. I am Jihan, Habitat homeowner with my two beautiful children, London and Vaughn. When your kids start to notice that why they don't get to do all the things that the other kids do, you kind of start to think, am I doing the right thing? When, your kids are sneezing and coughing a lot and you're wondering, is it because of the mold or the carpet that's how many years old, and every time you vacuum, you see the fibers like fly in the air. We would go out and be out as much as we could because it wasn't a place where you felt comfortable to people say rest your hat or come home and sit on the sofa and just enjoy an evening, or a place where you could have, dinner parties or your friends over, or birthday parties where your kids can invite their friends. And that's not what I wanted. Your home should be a place where you feel comfortable, you feel proud, you want people to come over and also feel comfortable. People would joke that, you never invite us over. You're such the life of the party, but you never invite us over. And I was just like, oh no, I'd rather come over to yours, and, always making excuses as to, why we never had our friends or family over for, family dinners or anything like that. And that, after a while, really weighs on you, because you're just like, well, what's the point of living here in a place where you don't, you can't put your pictures up on the wall, or, like you said, you can't cook and have a family dinner and have people sit and gather around a table. And so from the moment we got possession, you can just see the change in them, knowing that this is their home, somewhere that is brand new and safe and clean, with great neighbors. We got to meet our neighbors. on our welcome home ceremony. Because being part of a community was another big part for me. Because now that, we can feel safe going out to the park without, worrying about have to be home at a certain time, or their school community to get to ride the bus. They can join clubs and, sports teams now because we're in a home that is now ours. For me, I'm a little obsessive when it comes to cleaning, but it's so much easier and nice to have floors that you can clean and it's not causing, allergies. And just seeing my children's faces, knowing that this is our home. We're gonna make some great memories here, which we've already made within, the first couple months of being here, making some great memories. The first thing we did when we moved in was make sure that the kids got to pick their own paint colors for their walls, because living in a rental, you can't paint your walls, you can't choose, you can't be independent. So they picked both a paint wall color and a ceiling color, because why not? So we made sure the first thing we did before we moved in was make sure they had their walls painted. And then my son was able to put up in his room all his posters and his own artwork. He loves to draw. My daughter as well, she changes it all the time, so you won't really see much up now. Like, as her mood changes, she's able to change what she wants in her room. And the fact that their rooms are right next to each other, which is good for them because they are close, but it's separate. They have their own space where, like I said, if they need time away from mom or each other, they can go to it, and it's inspirational for them because they're looking at the walls of their choice. And I think that's a thing for children that is really, it gives value to who they are at that age, that they're able to have a choice, that, they chose this color, they chose to put those things on their walls, and they were able to make those free choices in their space. And having that opportunity for them will continue with them and allow them to grow into people that I'm going to be proud of. And I look at myself and I'm like, sometimes I get down on myself because I'm like, am I doing enough for my kids? But I guess I look back on that time and I'm like, I know my mom is proud of me. She's been to my home and she's so proud of how hard I've worked to get here. And I look at my kids and they don't know any different. They have a happy life now and will continue to. So if I can change that for just one person so that they don't feel that, their situation is anything but what is meant to be because they can change it, then I think I'm doing the right thing.